I'm Ken, and you're watching Celt Can Cook, the Scottish cooking channel that encourages young men and women to have the confidence and competence they need to conquer the kitchen. Happy Father's Day! Aye, that's right, it's the third week of June, therefore it's time for our salute to fathers. The importance of fathers is often overlooked in our culture, but as we can see from families that don't have dads, it's more likely the kid's going to be a criminal or a stripper if they didn't have a dad around. So, Da, thanks for sticking around. Mum, thanks for picking a good one. Alright, sappy boring stuff out of the way. Today, we're going to be making an absolutely fantastic burger in honour of my da, Ken the Elder. Picture here. But it's not going to be any regular bacon cheeseburger. Oh no! We're going to top it with some pulled pork. You may remember about 5 or 10 episodes ago we already made pulled pork. You can watch that video here. Or here. I don't remember where I put it. It's a fantastic recipe. I love it. I make it all the time. I share it with my friends. And I share that recipe with you in the video. You're welcome. But now it's time for the cooking. Let's get about it, shall we? Assuming you've already watched the pulled pork video and assuming you've already got some in your fridge, we're going to cook the bacon first. It's going to take the longest to cook of anything. So we're going to put some bacon on a cold pan. We're not going to turn the burner on until all the bacon is situated. I'm going to use 3 strips because, well, 2 for the burger, 1 for me, and at a low heat. Next we're going to put a little bit of oil. I think this is olive oil. Now, as part of this recipe, we're going to make some homemade potato crisps. Well, they're halfway between a chip and a crisp. Because they're very thick, but they're also, they've got that flaky interior that a good chip should have. As you can see, these potatoes are quite old, so we need to get those eyes out. I'm going to use my peeler to either peel them off or dig them out. You want to get the eyes out because, if I remember correctly, they have a wee bit of arsenic in them, so they can be kind of poisonous. We're going to cut them relatively thin, but we're not going to make them razor thin. We want them to cook in a short amount of time, but we also want them thick enough so they can be nice and flaky. That's good. By the way, this is not a healthy dish. I don't know why I need to keep saying that, but eventually somebody's going to say, "Oh, why are your food not healthy?" Well, you're going to be wanting to flip your bacon constantly. We don't want to overcook it. Basically, the second it starts to start browning, give it a flip. Because we want that the whole thing to be cooked nice and evenly and carefully. We're going to put an awful lot of oil. I'm pretty sure this is, you want the cheap stuff. This is peanut oil. And we're going to heat it up nice and hot. So the second we put our potatoes on there, it starts bubbling and sizzling all good and stuff. And you want a nice thin layer, so don't put all of your potatoes on at once. Because the more you put on, not only is it going to have less coverage, but you're going to decrease the temperature of your oil. And that's not good. Constantly flipping your bacon. As you can see, this isn't creakling up too much. All the surface area is touching the pan at some point or other, which is good, because you want the whole bacon to be edible. After a little while, move it to back burner, and we're going to put our paddy on. Aye. We're going to salt it, we're going to pepper it. Oh, such a nice mincemeat paddy. Check to see if your potatoes are starting to brown. That one's a good one. We want to flip that one. They don't always cook evenly. This isn't a cast iron pan. If it was, it would all cook evenly, but it's not, so we've got to adjust. Our burger patty we're going to be constantly flipping too. This one was pre-frozen, so it's going to be a little while to cook. As you can tell by the fact that it was quite white on the top when we pulled it out first. Let your bacon sit on a rack with a paper towel underneath so it can drain. And then flip your potatoes once they're nice and brown on one side. If some aren't exactly perfectly brown, that's fine. As you can tell, I got one on the top that's quite brown, a few others that are a little bit more golden. That's fine. And then once both of our sides are nice and brown, we are going to put our potatoes on the same rack that we had our bacon. We want all that fat to drain off, because you don't want to have a mouthful of fat. Well, maybe you do, I don't. I like to use tongs to get this all off. And the best way to, once again, drain it is to have a nice even layer. Otherwise, you're going to have a potato resting on top of another potato, and you run the risk of some of the grease not getting drained. And it's important to salt your potatoes right after they come off the oil, when they're nice and hot still. Because that allows it to absorb all that salt, and it gets, that nice delicious bite, like the perfect chip. Flipping your patty. As you can see, our burger is a nice uniform brown. That means it's time to put our cheese on, because it's pretty much done at this point. I like sliced cheese better than shredded, but I didn't have sliced cheese at the moment. Now it's time to reheat some of that pulled pork we had earlier. I prefer to use a pot or a pan because the microwave just dries everything out, and that's wildly unpleasant. And the best way to keep all that heat in and make sure it melts nice, put a lid on top of your pan. Have a bit of trouble finding the proper size. And in the end, I wind up settling for something that's way too big rather than way too small. When all the cheese is melted, at this point, it's time to put it back on the same rack with the paper towel we put all the rest of our stuff on. And an added bonus, a nice cheese crisp. And there you have it. Oh, looks delicious, doesn't it? It's time to assemble, isn't it? Oh yeah, actually it's not, because we still got the pork. Put a nice toasted bun down, add your patty, blot it just a wee bit to get some of that excess grease off, and then add our bacon. Oh, that looks fantastic, doesn't it? A nice crosshatch pattern. Oh, and then add your pulled pork on the top. Now you can ladle on some delicious barbecue sauce. I didn't, because I've been having some stomach trouble lately. A wee bit of acid reflux, the tomatoes kind of bring the roller back up again. So I can't eat some of my favourite foods anymore without massive amounts of pain. That's life, it's a getting older. And it's the absolute worst. We're going to arrange our chip crisps in a nice little way around the burger. Add a couple of pickles. I like dill kosher. And there you have it. Of course, I'm going to dress it up nicely for the camera. I hate this part of it, but hey, that's Instagram. And there you have it. A fantastic burger recipe that makes use of leftovers in a creative way. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Da, I love you. To the rest of you, give your dad a call. Maybe go see him if you can. He'll love that. You're watching Celts Can Cook, the Scottish cooking channel that encourages young men and women to have the confidence and competence they need to conquer the kitchen. And I'll be seeing you